Commissioners Nelson, Schaaf, Dorf, and Goldhahn present. Commissioner Mallett is excused. First item on the agenda is approval of the minutes from the regular Police and Fire Commission meeting held February 4th of 2016. Minutes are in your packet.
So moved.
Any questions? Okay, so moved for approval.
Second.
Moved by Commissioner Dorf, seconded by Commissioner Schaaf. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right, 2 minutes are approved. President's report, nothing of any consequence went on in the last month. Do appreciate the commissioners that attended the kickoff for the academy for the new fire recruits. And wanted to check, Chief, are there still options for the commissioners to attend some of the segments if they'd like to do that? And what's the way that who should we contact if we want to, so we don't surprise people?
Chief Elliott.
Elliott, okay.
Chief Elliott.
Okay.
I'll shoot you all his direct phone number. You can just call him or email him either way. I'll send you the contact info and have him get back to the office.
Okay.
And I think they've got the training. I think they've got the schedule out. I don't think you can get to it. So
Okay.
I'll have email the schedule.
Yeah, that'd be great if you can do it. And then there's some pieces that folks would like to see. They can do that. Okay, communications, that we had the status report and spreadsheet for the budget. Only 2 items on it, a psych evaluation and the drug test. It's the start of a new year, so this is the first spending for the year. So I'll entertain a motion to receive and place on file.
So moved.
Moved by Commissioner Schaaf,
Second.
seconded by Commissioner Dorf. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. These will be received and placed on file. Next item is the proposal to use Fox Valley Tech hiring again in our fire hiring process. Jen had a proposal in our packet. Looks like same as before.
Mm-hmm.
And that has done very well for us. I think the last few years that's really done a nice job. So any questions for the chief or for Jen?
We just keep stealing Appleton's Grand Shoots trainees.
Yeah. Well, it really does open the door to let the candidates apply to a lot of different places and lets us see a lot more candidates than we did in the past. All right, so if there's no more questions for Jen or the chief, I'll entertain a motion to approve.
So moved.
Moved by Commissioner Dorf, seconded by Commissioner Nelson. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right. Hiring process. It's been a few. Review the Police and Fire Commission bylaws with possible modification. The bylaws were in there. Commissioner Nelson, that you wanted to discuss?
I have an issue with Section 2 of Article 3. Put the 2-year term, 2 consecutive terms for the President and Vice President. There might be circumstances where termination becomes productive.
Okay.
Especially when you think about the turnover and the fact that all the signatories to this are long gone.
Yeah, okay. So currently, within the next year, we could have a 60% turnover in the commission. So what would your proposal be? Just removing the second portion of it? So then it would read, President and Vice President shall be elected for 2-year terms, and it would end there? And then election of officers will be done by verbal agreement?
Yes. I believe the election sentence in.
Take out the consecutive.
Yeah, limited to 2 consecutive terms.
Okay. Other thoughts on that? Reactions?
Rod and I have had experience in other organizations where there's not a lot of candidates need to fight there. And if you have a competent, willing person, what's wrong with that?
Well, and this still does require us every 2 years to have the elections and ask the question. It just doesn't force you to change if you sense it. Like in our case, we could have a lot of very new people.
Now, you said when you attended a state conference, you said residency wasn't.
Residency was not a statutory requirement.
But we have it here. We have.
It could be. Where do you see that?
The geographic section 2 area up on top. I don't know what that implies. Does that just imply the area that we serve, or does that imply the area that we have to come from?
I assume that was the area that we serve.
And then it says 5 citizens. I didn't really see anywhere that it just,
Yeah, I didn't see that this spoke to that.
Okay.
So as it was talked in the training, that was more a mayoral choice or
Okay.
a council choice, that they may put that in place and who they'd want to choose. But statutorily, it's not a requirement. So a
so I
person,
could serve on
a person could, yeah, yep. That would be a discussion to have with the mayor.
Okay.
Any other discussions, thoughts?
It has been quite a while.
All right, well, in keeping with the
Chief, do you
article.
see anything new that would be different than what you would want?
Okay, so in keeping with Article 5, what we'll do is add that to next month's agenda. We'll add that proposal, and then we'll vote on it at that time, because there needs to be a 30-day window in there in order to make any changes to those. All right. Anything more on that? Okay. Report of the chiefs. Let's start with fire, since Chief Smith has to stay for the next agenda item.
Yeah, don't have a lot to report. Obviously, some of you were able to come to the academy start on Monday. They will be graduating on May 13th, just for your scheduling. If people start to travel around that time of the year, but it's
Is
Friday.
that evening, late afternoon, early evening session that?
Yes,
is that what you're
Friday,
scheduling?
Friday, May 13th. I think we typically do that at about 5 o'clock. The location to be determined. I know that we're moving it, but I'm not exactly sure where it's going to yet. So just so you can have it on your schedule.
Barbara did a nice job finding a place last time.
Yeah, I did. I no longer have those connections.
Right. The only other thing I really have to report is Sarah Cooper is one of our female firefighters, been with us now, I guess 2 years now. So she was approached by University of Wisconsin Oshkosh to be a mentor person for female firefighters. UW Oshkosh does a weekend program for high school students, female high school students, every year. And it's a 72-hour program where they actually stay on campus and they're taught everything about the fire service and the career paths and so forth. And so they contacted Sarah. She's come and asked if she could do it. We approved it, of course, and we'll be giving her a day off to go and do that. She actually will stay on the campus with them for the whole 72 hours as another outreach to try to appeal to a wider, more diverse group of people in the fire department. So
Great.
Great.
I'll give you some dates on that. It's in July that she'll be doing that, but we had to get the time squared away and everything. So
Now, was she the one that worked with Mike Neff at the career
I think that was
session they
Shelley.
had, or was that a different one? Okay, it
that
was a different person.
Shelley, yeah, so
Yeah,
they all are doing different various things, but
excellent. That's
I know I've asked this before, but how many female firefighters do you have?
just 4 now. We lost Melissa and Ann Watska, both in the last listening to the county, and Ann retired. So Sarah was the last one we just picked up, so that's been 2 years. We only had one candidate out of the 70, I think, that this last group, one female in the whole group. So we'll try to expand our reach, I guess would be the word. So Sarah's, it sounds like she's going to commit to do that here on an annual basis, so which will be good. Hopefully they'll bring out some others. We had a couple of interns this last group. We think that Andrea Booz is one of those. I think that she'll probably come back around and task force,
Okay.
and she'll be a great candidate if she does. So we're pushing. So.
Okay. If this is successful, maybe some of the other campuses will do the same thing.
Yeah, I think Oshkosh really kind of got the jump on this thing, and so they bring in students from all over the state. And it's exclusively for female firefighters that are high school girls that are interested in the career, so they just kind of walk them through the whole thing. So,
Did she say how many are attending? What kind of attendance they get?
I don't know that they have that all lined out right
Okay.
now. I think that they've had upwards of 100 students there.
Not bad.
So hopefully it'll pay some dividends down the road. So other than that, that's all I had to report.
Very good. Any questions for the chief? All right, thank you.
All right. Good day.
Have a good day. How do you know? 12 minutes
You guys get
now.
stuck with all these candidates all the time.
All right.
Sure is nice doing it once a year.
All right, Chief Smith.
So from us, a bunch of little things just to keep everybody updated. We're still working on the contract negotiations with the PPA. We're hoping that moves forward, and obviously I can talk offline if anybody needs any more detailed information on that. But we're going to meet again probably next Wednesday with the city and the PPA board, and hopefully we're close. I feel like we're close with most of the people. I think there's a few that aren't interested in moving on, but I think we're in pretty good shape. I have our officers working on three major projects, 3 committees we put together. One is to make sure we have a strategic plan for the department, so we have an idea where we're going in 5 and 10 and maybe even 20 years. So I have a group of officers that are just getting together to start looking at that. In fact, at 1 o'clock today is our first meeting. And basically I wanted input in all these groups that I put together. I wanted input from all levels of the department, not just senior guys that are involved in everything, but even brand new guys who may have something good to offer. We're also looking at the organization chart and see how the department is organized and see if there's a more efficient way that we can do that and we can be more effective. I have another group looking at the uniform and see if there's any changes we would like to make on it. Another group is looking at the building, and John Laux is heading that one. He's looking at where we're going to build the building, how big it should be, and I believe a request for proposals going out later this week. Talk to me about that. So on space standards, how much space we'll need, how big of a building, who should be in it, whether we're co-located with a fire and things of that nature. So that should be going out sometime this week.
Wow.
And finally, we have on May 14th, we're scheduled tentatively for a department-wide inspection, which is a Saturday, which I'd like to call all the officers in, make sure they have all the gear that they need, of course, and do a stand-up inspection. And then, but more importantly, I think I'd like it to be a time where they can get a photo taken of everybody together in front of the police station, probably the last one before we get a new police station. It hasn't been done in years. I'd like to invite them to bring their families in so the families could come and see what their dads and moms and sons and daughters do. I'd like to do a SWAT demonstration so they can, so the kids can see what the SWAT guys do. I think that'd be really neat. Maybe a canine demonstration as well. Yeah. And so we're looking for a volunteer to put on a bite suit to see if...
I would.
Would you?
Yeah, I would.
If you haven't done it, it's really neat.
I do.
It's amazing how powerful those dogs are. So we're trying to do that without spending any money. We'd like to do it on, if we have to bring people in, probably be a couple hours of compensatory time that they would earn that they'd be able to use as opposed to paying people cash. I already had a group of pastors from the community that have offered to provide food for everybody and cook dinner for everybody or lunch or whatever. Certainly would love it if you guys could come and we could have you say a few words. I'll invite the mayor, of course. So tentatively for May 14th, hopefully we'll have a good day of weather. We can shut off the street in front of the station and have set up some bleachers so that everybody can get their picture taken. We'll have a car there. You can get your picture taken with your kids in a police car from 2016, and in 20 years you'll laugh at how antiquated that car looks. I mentioned a little bit before we started about the alcohol program that the mayor wants us to start working on. After we had that terrible double fatality over on the west side, the mayor, really was struck by that, and I was too. And he wants us to get together with fire and put together a team of people to come up with some kind of strategy, some kind of solution to really move, as he says, move the needle on alcohol and drunk driving in Green Bay. He says he doesn't want to wait for the county, he doesn't want to wait for the state. He says we can do things in this city to really move that forward. I don't know if we're going to be able to change the drinking culture in Wisconsin, but certainly do everything we can to change the drinking and driving culture that we have here.
Drug Alliance has been trying to do that for years.
Yeah.
Hey,
Yeah.
Nancy's right.
And well, whatever it takes, and whatever I can do as a new
I
guy.
mean, changing the culture
Is it-
but there's other things we can do. But
Right. So maybe a lot of that's enforcement, a lot of that's making sure people know the cops are out there. I think with Uber, I don't know if you've ever had an opportunity to use that, but my wife and I, whenever we'd go out to dinner, we'd take an Uber down for just a couple of dollars, half the price of a taxi. And they show up, and the taxi or the car's always clean, and the people are nice. There's a bottle of water there, and for a couple bucks, you get from home to the restaurant and back without ever having to take a chance at having one glass of wine and worrying that you're going to get yourself in trouble. We did have an officer injured the other day. I shouldn't get too deeply into it. He's just a simple fall, broken wrist on the skateboarding cop that we all know, Joel. So he'll be all right, I'm sure. But he slipped on the ice and broke his wrist.
on his skateboard.
No, he was answering the call. Yes, that's what I told him. Skateboard guy, you're supposed to be able to do this. So, and we had a robbery yesterday. I don't know if you heard about that at the BP. That was it's a little bit of a concern for us. Our guys are working great guns trying to get that fellow and take
And
him
that
into custody.
article in the paper today.
Was it already?
No, the article in the paper about the shooting and the whole convoluted abduction. And did you guys see
Yeah.
that?
I haven't seen the article yet. No.
We we drove by when the robbery, when you guys were all there. I mean, that's broad daylight. They had mid-afternoon.
Yeah. So, there's definitely stuff that happens there. So, our guys need to be cautious. Obviously, the guy at the BP place was armed with a pistol in his waistband. So, we've got some good clues. Our guys are following up on that. I told him I want him in custody by 6 o'clock.
All right. Anything about policy? When Chief Lewis was here, he had dedicated someone to working on the policies, and then that was going to be up in the air as far as was that going to continue, because our policies were so outdated.
You
with
bet.
the police department.
You bet. So I had two captains that have been working on that since Chief
Right.
Lewis was here. They're working on the Lexapol program.
Right.
And so we sat down last week and we went through all the policies and made all the changes that we thought were proper. And that was supposed to go live on Monday, this past Monday. However, we did a quick audit of if our officers have all reviewed all that stuff, and many of them had not. So we're going to give them a little bit extra time to go through it. And there was a debate back and forth among the captains whether we should start writing people up. And I thought, you know what, with the number of people that it takes a certain amount of time to go through all those policies, make sure you've read them and signed off on them. So I'm going to give them a little more time to do that. I did make one policy change yesterday, and I should probably make you aware of it. Green Bay Police Department does not allow new police officers to carry their firearms off duty until they are in the field certified. I mean, they've been through the whole program, and then finally, when they get to work alone, then they let them carry their weapons off duty. I had a bit of a concern for that because my wife and I went to Cabela's, and the guy behind the counter said, well, she can get a carry concealed weapons permit by watching a 4-hour video or getting a hunter safety certificate or anything. And then one of the youngsters asked me about it. I had not heard that we weren't allowing them. So I said, so let me get this straight. You could carry concealed after you've been to a Cabela's class for 4 hours, but you join the police department, you got to stop carrying concealed. We put you through 600 hours of police training. We do a thorough background investigation on you. We swear you in as a law enforcement officer, and then we tell you can't carry your pistol anymore. So yesterday I sent a note to everybody, and we changed our policy. It basically says once you qualify with your firearm, after you're sworn in and you join the department and you've been through the background and everything else, then you can start carrying your firearm off duty immediately. And I did that. I think it's important for our officers to know that we trust them. B, we recognize that they deal with some unsavory people out here, and we want them to be able to protect themselves and their family when they're driving to and from work. And obviously they have to be responsible for it, and we'll keep an eye on that. So,
What was their reasoning for having it the old way?
it's how we've always done
Done
it.
it, okay.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes. And so I went to roll calls and I mentioned if there's anything else that we've done because we've always done it and it doesn't make sense, let me know about it. This is the first I heard about this, was the day before yesterday. I had no idea that was a policy, and so we changed that. But we'll change anything that it makes sense to change. That being first.
Good.
Yeah, so the Lexipol stuff, in short answers, we're still moving forward on that. We haven't pulled the trigger on it because we still have to make sure everybody does it. But within a week or two, I think everybody will have caught up.
So you don't see it as a position that's needed, then just solely dedicated to policy in the future?
I think we'll have to have somebody keep an eye on it
Keep an
because
eye
we
on
were
it.
so far behind.
Yeah.
So what I like to have that as an ancillary duty for one of our captains, just like I'll have an ancillary duty for someone to be the alcohol coordinator and someone to be the juvenile coordinator. I think an ancillary duty with, in addition to your duties, if there's a policy question, Kevin, Wyrick, or one of those guys, Keith,
Yeah.
we'll have them keep an eye on that.
And as I recall, the issue before was we were about to come to the end of our contract
We were.
to use that, and
Right.
and they hadn't been updated, so there
Right.
was a lot of
Right.
remedial work to be done
And that,
there.
yeah, if you keep up on it and you do it, I don't think it's a burden at all. But if you let it go for a long period of time, then it becomes one of those things that it's a little too burdensome to get rid of. So that is that, unless you have any other questions about stuff. Oh, one of the things we should probably talk about is travel out of state. I got a little bit of a feeling about that.
I let you know that.
Out-of-state travel, the Personnel Committee had a little issue with, we sent two officers, two lieutenants, Ben Allen and Keith Gehring, down to Texas to do a background investigation on our number one candidate. This guy looks great, and this was basically the final investigation. He's been up here 3 times already on his dime, so we sent them down there. It was relatively inexpensive. Round-trip airfare for each of them was, I think, $245, and then the hotel room and a rental car for a couple of days. But I think it's a valuable tool for us to go and knock on doors in their neighborhoods, talk to their worker, people that worked around them, especially at places where they used to work, because then we'll have an opportunity to see what their former coworkers said and their former bosses said. And I think it's a valuable tool. The Personnel Committee had some concerns about it, and I don't think they were too keen on us sending folks out to do that anymore. So I thought if we talked about it, I agreed that we'd come back and talk and maybe come up with at least a procedure that if I do that, or if we have a candidate like that, maybe I'll notify you as a committee and see if you have any concerns about it. I hate to think that we're not going to consider someone from another state just because it's travel. And maybe we can make an exception if someone was already a sworn law enforcement officer in Los Angeles and already been through a background investigation from an agency. Maybe we could farm it out to somebody to do it, to do a quick follow-up. But I don't really feel comfortable just saying we're not going to hire anybody from outside of Wisconsin or the immediate area, and we're not going to go do a check on them when we could potentially find some serious things.
I agree with you.
Yeah.
And I don't think we should change right now.
I'd gotten a call ahead of time from one of the committee members, and he said, "Is this different than we do with every other candidate?" And I said, "No." And my history, when I first got on the commission, the first couple of backgrounds we had, my reaction was, "Wow, this is overkill," because everybody checked out fine. We hired the officers, and I thought we're spending a lot of time and money. And so I was going to ask the question at one of the meetings. Well, at that next meeting, we got another batch. And you started reading through it, and you go, "Wow, it's a good thing we didn't hire this person." And it was the depth of the background that called that out. So then I shut up and said, "Fine, it's worth it when you look at the risk on the other end of it."
It seems like money well spent when you look at the risk.
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah.
So what I'll do is if we decide to do that again, I'll make sure you're notified and see if you have any concerns about it. And we'll obviously keep it to a minimum. We'll look to do it the most economical way possible. But I think it's something that we should continue to do. And I hope you're all in agreement that we should be. I told my guys that I want to scour the earth for the best candidates,
Sure.
get the very best
Oh, yeah.
people that we can here, because it makes us better, and a good quality candidate will be an asset to us for 30 years.
Yeah, I think the change the department's doing in how we recruit will give us a bigger pool of good candidates locally, but no, I wouldn't exclude anybody,
Okay.
because it's a small price when you look at a 30-year career.
Okay. And that would be it for me, then. I don't have anything else. Well, along those same lines, I guess I do. Captain Eagle's supposed to travel out of state, and I forget where the state he's going to go to an NFL meeting for all the people who do security for NFL. NFL's paying for everything except his wages, so I don't imagine there's going to be any heartburn over that, but it's a couple of days where he'll go attend this conference for all the security people that work with the NFL at wherever they have a stadium. Again, they're paying for it, so I don't think that'll be an issue.
Fine.
Okay.
Okay, other questions for the chief? Okay, next item is the review of patrol officer candidates. Commission may convene in closed session pursuant to sections 19.85, paragraph 1, sub C and F, Wisconsin statutes to consider employment, promotion, compensation, or performance evaluation data of any public employee over which the governmental body has jurisdiction or exercise responsibility. The Commission may thereafter reconvene in open session pursuant to section 19.85, paragraph 2, Wisconsin statutes to report the results of the closed session and consider the balance of the agenda. Is there a motion to go into closed session?
So moved.
Moved by Commissioner Dorf.
Second.
Seconded by Commissioner Schaaf. All those in favor? Opposed? We're in closed session. While in closed session, we've reviewed two candidates. One asked to be removed from the process since they had taken another job, and we're very happy there. We agreed with that. And the other candidate we reviewed and unanimously chose to keep that person in the hiring process. Next item is bills. The only two bills we had were the two that were referenced back in the budget report, one for a psych eval and one for a drug screen for one of our new hires. So, entertain a motion to authorize payment.
So moved.
Moved by Commissioner Dorf.
Second.
Seconded by Commissioner Nelson. Any further discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Pay the bills. Next date, our regular meeting date would be April 7th, noon or 3. It looks like with Justin's schedule, anyone could be good or bad. So what works for folks? Any preference of this group?
Whatever works best for the people that
Yeah,
are working.
what about you guys?
Yeah.
You tell me. I'm up there at noon and at 3, so you tell me whatever works for you.
I'm
What
fine.
Agree
do
with
you
that?
don't like? I don't care.
Yeah. Why don't we go ahead and do 3?
Okay.
And I'll assume we'll have some more backgrounds to review.
Hope so, yep.
Okay.
Yep.
All right. Very good. With that, entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Moved by Commissioner Dorf.
Second.
Seconded by Commissioner Schaaf. All those in favor?
Aye.
We're adjourned.
How's the campaign?